all the FNAF Funkos were super cheap. Like nobody cared about them. I think the Comic-Con exclusive ones that were like chases almost had like, they were really cool designs. So nobody wanted to buy them, so they were like $2 on eBay, but I bought it for like 15. And I'm like, oh well, I still like them, I'm never gonna sell them. And then now because everybody's into it because of the movie and all this other stuff, and all the prices went up and they're not selling any more of the cool ones. And now,
oh, you mean the really bad movie?
I'm just gonna back away.
Have your opinions changed? Have your opinions changed? Because I recall the last time we talked about the movie, you said that it grew on you. That initially you were disappointed. No. You watched it a second time and it grew on you.
Definitely not.
Did it tank?
I personally, I know people liked it. I thought it was not very good.
Oh, okay. I thought it was enjoyable.
I know. I expected different things from the movie. There was good things about it, like the designs and Jim Henson being able to do the animatronics and all that. But God, they blue balled you every time they wanted to kill somebody. It's like,
you didn't like it when they all started building the fort and dancing?
I actually like that part. I like that part. That's not, people hated that. I'm like, they're children spirits in animatronics. Yes, they're gonna be children, but they're also vicious murderers and vengeful spirits. And I want to see somebody get dismembered like they do in
okay, counterpoint.
Don't you dare say it's for children.
What if this, well, that's half the answer, but what if this is more in line with what the original creator wanted? Because think about it, the guy who originally made it, he could have made it more graphic, but he left it up to the imagination. So in a way, like for kids watching it, it's like by not showing it, there's probably some kid out there who's terrified of this movie, some little weenie 5 or 6 year old, you know, and it's going to be their childhood thing that they're going
to. You know damn well, they're all like, "Oh, look at them, they're so cute." This generation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That it's like
grew up on
dismemberment. It's possible that there are kids out there that are more scared of what they didn't show than the scariest thing they could have put on screen. Like, I'm being legit here. Like, because in the game it's the jump scare, but you don't see what happens in the first game. Like, I know in the comics they show it, but it's like, what if this is what I'm saying? What if this is more in line with what the game does, and the comics is more visual, the movie's more in line with the game, and the network executive was like, they can keep us in a PG-13, win-win.
So my argument against that, because I have had that argument before, and I already forgot what I was talking about, but no, but because everybody was saying like this movie needs a rated R rating to be a good movie, and I'm like, technically no, because some of the scariest movies ever created were PG-13. I think Insidious was PG-13. I think Sinister was PG-13. I think. Like, some of these movies that are like insanely... I know that Insidious wasn't that... I think it was PG-13. I think, like, Paranormal Activity was, PG-13, I think, too. And, like, all these movies, they don't have all the gore. They don't have all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, if you're appealing to...
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Oh, God.
That one was PG-13, and that movie was scary. Like, some of those visuals kind of messed up.
That's what I'm kind of saying, is that I would have liked it personally if they actually showed a little bit more. Because if you've read any of the books, or that you've, like, the whole part of the game is that the game's not trying to... The jump scare is the payoff, like, but it's all the build up. Anthony knows because he's played now. FNAF 4, it wasn't the jump scare, it was the ambiance the entire time that stressed you out, and then the jump scare was just the icing on the cake that like released your tension because you finally were like, ah, and then you're done.
Okay.
But like the ambiance was the big thing that FNAF always has going for it. The story building, the world building, you being physically in there, especially like the little mechanics they add into it. I think with so many things, they could have made them scarier without being more gory. But like having Bonnie just sit in the closet and just be there, and he's like, no, and then you just see on the wall.
Yes.
Okay.
I would have thought it would have been so much better if there was some like aggressive
Nice.
thudding, and you see people, you just see like, you hear like him smashing against the walls, and like it's this huge animatronic that's like 8 feet tall that's literally just gonna break you to pieces, and no noise, it's completely silent, and you just hear this biker go ee! And then just on the window. It's like, or no, it was only a handprint on the window. It wasn't even like yes. And he's just, and then Bonnie walks out. He's not covered in blood or anything.
The way you're explaining this.
It's getting me looking at the movie in a completely different way. Like, okay, yeah, I get you, nice, all right.
And the story was kind
I get it,
of
man.
hit or miss. There was a lot of Easter eggs and references that were cool, but I think they could have gone better with the story, in my opinion.
Do you think what they should have included was maybe like a scene where it's like first person and you're expecting the jump scare to happen, where it like mirrors the game, where it builds that tension? Because you're right, I never found the animatronics scary. It was just it didn't, because yeah, the way the deaths played out, the way they made the robots present, the only time I got that vibe was when the fox one, the pirate one, like is in the dark and it flashes forward. That was like the one time that it felt like it was trying to be the game. Yeah. But the way you're explaining it to me, I'm like, yeah, the chicken, that just, it could have been scarier. Yeah.
Cupcake, arr, arr, arr. Like biting his leg.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. The Foxy moment was like one of the best, like one of the most wasted potentials in my case. Like when the Foxy one, that was the first time I was like, oh, they're actually doing it. They're building like this tension. Foxy's like a huge character. He's always one of the scariest from the first game. Like he's creepy as hell, and you just got to put him in that atmosphere. And he like he's super fast, he runs after you. They did everything so well, and then they try to emulate the jump scare where he just like jumped at you like this. And I'm like, you ruined all tension for me in the movie. Like, I don't know, that specific scene, I thought the Freddy, or not the Freddy, the Foxy one had so much potential that got wasted, and I got blue balled at the end. That's what I felt. But like,
now I'm just wondering, is Five Nights at Freddy just like the first game's concept? Because I know the lore was weaved in the sequels. In the first game, it was just haunted Chuck E. Cheese. Is 1 hour and 30 minutes just too long to make haunted Chuck E. Cheese without making the movie just short, if that makes sense? Because I feel like the only way, if they had made the movie darker, it would have been too hard to follow along for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Dark scenes only work best if it's just a short, scary story. And like, yeah, because the movie just wasn't dark enough. It wasn't scary.
Yeah.
When I think of the game, it was bright.
When they made it, it was very middle of the road for everything, to where it's not going to take any risks, but it's not going to... It didn't take any risks with the movies. It's so cookie cutter that all the young people that are going to go watch it can still watch it and be fine. Their parents can bring them and be fine. And that everybody's going to go home and be like, oh, look at that reference. Look at that reference. Oh, look at that. Look at this. Oh, it's him. He said the line. And like, but they took absolutely no risk with the movie whatsoever. to where it could have been great. Like, they have a great premise. Everybody loves it. I'm just like, why can't you just... It's a horror franchise. There's dead children. Why are you making it all campy and for children? I'm like, I get children kind of latched onto the fandom, but I'm also like, this is technically not meant for kids. There's children being tortured, people being dismembered, people being beheaded. There's like psychological torture going on in the books. One person gets ballerinas in his mouth every night and they build up in his stomach and then he explodes.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
What?
Okay, this is just twisted for the sake of being twisted. It's like, let's make some weird stuff.
Those are the one-off stories, but they're actually very good.
I got kind of a counterpoint.
Don't worry, I'll cut this. But I want to have this conversation.
What if
This should be its own video.
I was thinking the exact same thing as Gary was talking about. Just cut this. This could be
cut this, and this could be a bit. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
This is a video I never made.
Okay, here's my question. What if this is just the modern version of what we saw in the 90s when they made action figures based on rated R movies? Like back then, like there was the Rambo movie, which was violent for adults, dismemberments, really bad torture and war, POWs. And then they made the Rambo cartoon series.
Oh God.
What if this is just, instead of making a TV show, they decided to make the cartoon kid-friendly version of FNAF? You know, the FNAF that you see at the Target action figure section.
Yeah.
The FNAF that you see on like little kids t-shirts. It's like, this was the cartoon kid-friendly adaptation, but just made as a feature film. Like, they don't do cartoons anymore, because this could have been a cartoon show. This could have aired on Disney Kids, like a streaming service, a 10 episode. But instead of devoting that much time and energy, they just made a short film. But it's like, it's the one that kids are growing up with.
See,
because I mean, Gigi
from
knows
what I know,
but
from what I know about fandoms and stuff is like, because I feel like maybe they were just trying to branch out, maybe, and like to like different audiences. It sounds like.
Yeah.
But maybe it just didn't necessarily work out. Like they were trying to like make this movie appeal to a certain audience, but it just didn't necessarily like work out. It seems like for some people, but maybe kids liked it. I don't know.
Well, Gigi liked it. I liked it because they liked it. I thought it was, I was like, hey, it's like spooky Chuck E. Cheese. I agree with everything. That's why I liked what you were telling me, because you got me looking at the movie in a different way, where I'm like, oh, okay, now I can see it through a fan's perspective. Yeah, this ain't as good as I used to think it was. So now I got like two perspectives, essentially. But Gigi did like the movie. Like, she came out of it happy.
It was made for them, essentially, because a lot of their fandom is intentionally or not, more than likely intentionally, because it's a huge market for children, toy market, stuff like that. There's so much FNAF merchandise, it's not even funny. Oh my God. We
bought it.
Yeah, there's like chocolate Bonnies.
Merchandise. Like, I'm the parent that just buys it.
But like, they heavily market to kids. But I think that's one of the things that's really cool about FNAF, is that everybody can come into it, even though, again, just to clarify, like the books and the games are maybe not exactly graphic visually, but their topics, and there's a lot of things in the game that are very adult, very mature. Child abduction, child murder. Like, it's like, I don't like.
Well, what else has done that? I guess that's the next thing. I can think of examples where it was like Alien the movie, Alien the action figures for kids, But in modern times, what other IP has done that? Where there's something that's like
Alien was
So-
an adult movie first.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I guess they had
Rated
that.
R movie.
Like they had
They,
that.
yeah, I
but-
think FNAF was just kind of like the opposite. It like at first it was a game, and then right, it was a game first, right?
Yeah. And it didn't know who it
So it just
wanted
sounds like
to
they're just-
appeal.
Yeah, exactly. It just sounds like they're trying to like, no, this medium's for this age range. This medium is for this age range. But the whole like fandom
Yeah.
itself is like you could appeal. It's trying to appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
So like maybe I don't know. I don't know how they promoted the movie, but like maybe they could have
They
done
look
a
like
better
the
job
game.
promoting the movie.
They promoted it.
I don't know.
very
Maybe they could have done a.
to children.
Okay, well then, yeah, then in that case,
It was-
it was probably a case of like, yeah, this is going to be for children. So if you're an adult fan, maybe you won't like it. Maybe you will like it. Like
Maybe you need to grow
you know.
up. The executive's
Maybe
like,
you know, because it's like Power Rangers. You got like the comics that are for the adults, but then you got the comics that are like more for like the teen.
well, it's like
Kind of-
it's like Kamen Rider. Like
What's it-
I'm watching scenes
Is
of
Kamen
like,
Rider
of,
a
like some of
horror
the
film? A horror series though?
The
Is Power
Amazon-
Rangers the horror series?
the admin. Well, no, that's what I'm gonna get to. That
Okay.
there's the shows on their surface seem child friendly, like more kid friendly, more like cartoony. But the Amazon Prime one is violent, like not appropriate, not appropriate for kids. Like it starts
Yeah,
off
you're
very
intriguing me
very
now.
strong, very very graphic. And I thought
They talk about
and I thought
language.
the original. Like there's human experimentation on children, alluding to like what
Nice.
went on in like the 40s in the first couple seconds
Nice.
of Black Sun. Like Fran and I were like, we didn't know at that exact moment if we were gonna like this. It just boom was way overboard, and it's like that's for adults, and then there's the kid one. Like you can have both. And I mean, I'm not trying to convince you that the movie was good. Like, if you didn't like it, that's one thing. Like that
No,
I
I
understand. The way you explain it, I can see how you'd be disappointed. What I'm more interested in now is how FNAF is just so big that it's like you can literally make a movie and it will still be carried by the kid fans, and they'll know that enough of the adult fans will still come over begrudgingly. Like, you have to watch the FNAF movie. If you're a FNAF man, even if you know what to expect, you still were gonna watch it in theaters if you were a FNAF fan.
Well, it was the first FNAF movie. That won't apply to every FNAF movie. If the second one's bad, I'm not watching the third. Like,
That's fair. See, it's the same with me with Sonic. I'm not interested in Sonic 3. First one I thought was good.
probably still
Second
watch the
one
third.
was kind of and that made me I lost interest.